Hello, everyone. My name is Vernice, and this is my podcast, Speak Up. I hope you guys are all having a great week so far. I'm so happy to be here. For those of you that don't know, the mission statement for this podcast is we'll use our voices to motivate people to overcome life's challenges through self love and respect. So, this is the place for self love and respect. Shout out to the new listeners out there. I am very excited for tonight's episode. It is Mental Health Awareness Month. So, like I mentioned, this whole month, I'm actually interviewing therapists. So I'm very excited to just dive into this topic and just to make an impact, especially with our voices. So, you guys give it up for my special guest for tonight, licensed clinical social worker, psychotherapist Lauren Turner. Hi.
Hi, thank you for having
Yes,
me.
you're welcome. So happy to have you here. How are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. It's always a joy to see you. Thank you
Oh,
for inviting me to join your show. We talked about it a while ago, so I'm happy to see that it's happening today.
yeah, this is like perfect timing. I was so excited for this interview. So, ready to just like dive in it. So, tell us about yourself and your practice.
Okay, so I'm a licensed clinical social worker here in the city of Inglewood, California. I'm a Los Angeles native. I have been running a private practice um, geared toward helping athletes and people of color for the past 5 years. I started in 2019 and just excited to be able to, provide services and normalize mental health in my community. It's been really important to me.
Oh, I love it. And so, what got you into your practice?
I have been practicing for maybe I got my license, which was a big deal. And you have to take a series of board exams to be able to be licensed to practice independently. And I kind of always wanted to start my own private practice in addition to, being a mom and all the other things that I did. And I thought that it was a great time after I passed my boards to kind of like, wait a minute, and then start my private practice, and I've been going ever since.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So, speaking of like mental health awareness and things like that, what's a myth about seeking help from a therapist, that people have and people don't a misunderstanding people have about therapy?
Well, I know that in the Black and Brown community that we often
Mhm.
believe that we pray it away, or that
Mhm.
you know uh, you could talk to your family, keep it in the family, and don't tell anybody your problems,
Mm.
or on the transverse that that person is crazy, or using, and a lot of times people use a lot of psychotherapeutic terms to describe people's personalities and
Mhm.
behavior patterns that may
Mhm.
not necessarily be like a diagnosis that they fit. And so sometimes it can be kind of like damaging language that people use around things that can be very stigmatizing. So I think
Mhm.
that a lot of it is, between education and knowing what's right, and the internet has filled us with so much information that I think that sometimes it gives us a lot of misinformation about um, mental health in these ways, or diagnosing people, or talking about different clinical things in a way that maybe doesn't always show people with mental health conditions in a shining light.
Oh, that was well said. Yeah, I feel that. And I'll say a bright side about social media. I feel like in this generation, I love how getting therapy is being spoken about more. Like people are more like open about it. Like, oh, I saw my therapist. Or people are more open about sharing that information versus like in the past where it was like a stigma to even like say, oh, I have a therapist or things like that. So, oh my goodness.
One of my
And
favorite things
mhm.
now is when people say like, "Oh, my therapist said." I said, "Oh, you have? I love that." It makes it a little bit easier for people to talk about it.
Oh my God, yes. And what makes you unique in your practice? So, what's something that your services
Oh,
offer
that's
that.
so cool. So my practice is a little unique in the respect that, like, I do have a specialty niche that isn't as common as other people. So I specialize in working with high performers and athletes, and I'm currently becoming a mental performance coach, which is a really awesome process that really has been teaching me a lot about how to structure therapy a little bit differently, but not using it as therapy, but using it in a kind of a different way. And so I think that things that make me unique are, I have an approach to mindfulness. I, really kind of normalize a lot of things around sexuality and different experiences like that over the lifespan. I have a podcast too called The Official Hey Boo, where we do couples therapy. So like, I think that one of the things that is really interesting is that even though I have a niche that does specialize in working with athletes, I don't only work with athletes, and I do a bunch of cool stuff in therapy, including like couples therapy and athlete-based therapy. I do like work with teens and other things like that. And so it's very specific. Sorry, something just fell in my
Oh,
face.
no worries.
I thought it was one of my kids, y'all. Sorry.
Love it.
And, it's just nice to kind of be something that, and I'm also showing up as a Black woman in a therapeutic space. And there's only 4% of Black therapists in the country. And
Whoa.
It's really, I want you to think about that. 4% in the country.
That's okay. Okay. I'm so in
California, we're talking about all over. And so there's a very limited amount of us. So in some spaces, it's a bit of a unicorn experience, but it's also really beautiful for me to see people who look like us coming in for therapy and being able to show up authentically. And I try to do that to match my clients as well, to let them feel comfortable in their skin too.
Oh my goodness, that was beautiful. Yes, okay, love it. And on the flip side, what advice would you give to a person who wants to study to become a therapist?
Oh, that's so great. Okay, so the first advice that I would give someone who wants to study to become a therapist is that you have to go to school for it. And I would highly recommend that you make sure that the program that you're choosing is accredited before you begin, because there are some social work programs or therapy programs that may not have accreditations that your state will recognize for your licensure. And that's going to be something that's important about getting a job after you finish school. And we all want to be able to practice. If you want to be a therapist, you have to do those things. But it's very challenging, the process. And you think that it's going to be an academic challenge, but it's really an emotional process, learning about human behavior. And a lot of people in grad school really struggled with the emotional piece of it, present company included. And you don't know how hard it's going to be. So I recommend for people who want to become therapists to start therapy yourself, because there's this quote that they say, and I don't know who says it, but I'm going to repeat it anyway. And it says, heal or heal thyself first, right? Which is, before you can go in to be ready to heal anyone, you kind of have to know who you are, what it is that you're trying to heal, because there's a theory that all of us who are in mental health, that we are all healing from something as well, and to take that into consideration as we begin our practice, but to not bring your own stuff with you into your therapy sessions with your clients, because other people don't need your trauma, they need to heal their own.
Oh, I hope you guys were taking notes out there. That was a beautiful answer. And I think, to go off the emotional thing, and I think about too, like, yeah, that all makes sense, because sometimes you're right. Like, someone might even come in who went through something you never went through. And it's like, you're right. Knowing who you are, knowing what to advise too.
Yes. And sometimes you get stuck. And honestly, it's one of the things that people may not think is that therapists also have therapists. Like, we need them too, because a lot of the things that people talk about in therapy are their darkest secrets, and are the things that people don't talk about in the light of day or in public in a way that makes it, easy to discuss.
Wow. Oh my goodness. Well, thank you for sharing.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing. I'm excited for tonight. We didn't even get into the episode yet. I'm already like, thank you so much. So we're now going to get into tonight's episode. Tonight's episode is titled Move On. And so, I've done my research, and like, I know you specialize in athletes, movement, things like that. I met you in a running club. I met you a part of a running, physical community. And so I wanted to talk about mental health tonight, and through physical activity, and how those relate. I think we sometimes separate the two, like, oh, my mental health, my physical health. And it's like, all that stuff goes together. They all work together. You need one and the other to keep one. So I'm so happy to debunk that topic tonight with you today. So you guys, we're going to get into tonight's episode. So it is now time for the Ask Up question of the night.
That was so exciting.
It Here we start. So tonight's Ask Up question of the day. So if you're out there listening, please comment. I do go back and read the comments. I would love to hear you guys' answer to this. How do you take care of your mental health through physical activity? So I'll go first. So joining the running community is one of mine. Like I notice if I don't run, I'm like, oh, I need that. Like it's definitely something I fell in love with, and it's a good way for me to release, anything I've been dealing with that whole week and release any challenge and just to feel good. And the other one is like dancing. I love to turn on music at home and just dance around the house, like get my body moving, feeling the song, whether it is me feeling sexy, feeling fun, feeling happy. Those are my ways to kind of take care of my mental health through physical movement. So what about you, Lauren? How do you take care of your mental health through physical activity?
So you're spot on with some of the things that I do. So I also run. That's how we met. That's one of my easiest and fastest, even though I'm a slow runner.
You be out there, girl. Good distance runner. I heard that.
Yes, but it's one of the easiest things that I do because all I have to do is put on some shoes that I can leave my door and get a workout in, whereas some things may take a little bit more time. But I love that you like to dance. I think that that's really exciting. Dancing isn't my favorite thing to do, even though I will do it from time to time. I also swim a lot. And I've really been getting into swimming again lately and helping other people learn how to swim as a part of the mental performance coaching, which I can talk about another time. But it's really been very great because I'm a former competitive swimmer, which is how I kind of got into this concentration and niche in the first place. And so it's really nice for me to be able to kind of tap into some of those things. I also enjoy just a casual walk sometimes with a friend and hiking and, anything really that does involve movement. I try all kinds of sports and different things. I've learned how to, be a better basketball player recently. And, just little things. I'm always down for a good workout. I love yoga. It's one of my favorites. I could probably do it more, but, a little weightlifting here and there, just you name it. I've tried it.
All in. I love how you brought up casual walk too, because I think sometimes when people hear physical activity or movement, they think it has to be something fast paced or like something on crazy. And like you say, even if it's just a jog, a small little walk through with your friends, that's still physical activity. So
a walk around the block, take a lap at your 5-minute break or 10-minute lunch break. For 30 minutes, you take a little quick walk, come back, do a little stretch, 5 seconds before you sit back at your computer. And those things are not just good for your body, but they're also really good for your mental health and give you a quick recharge throughout the course of your day.
Oh, well said. Well said. Look, I'm gonna take my walks way more often now. So tonight, like I said, we're gonna be talking about the importance of having a healthy relationship with physical movement and how it connects to mental health. So I'm gonna be real, if you don't, I feel like when I lack physical movement, I feel like that's when my mind starts playing tricks on me. And then I feel like when my mind isn't right, that's when I don't want to do anything. So they really do go hand in hand. So as a therapist, in your opinion, how does physical movement connect to your mental health?
So it's interesting. I actually just posted an article about weight loss on my blog that I just started recently. And it's interesting because moving your body, when you mentioned something a little bit earlier about people think that it's only just your mind or your body, and that for some reason that those two things are not interconnected, and they're 100% connected, which is one of the reasons why as a social worker and a therapist, I look at the holistic perspective of what a person is experiencing. And it's also one of the reasons why I suggest the small incremental exercises for my clients who may be struggling with being active, especially when their mental health is really declining. I encourage them to take really small doses of physical movement to really kind of help jumpstart them. Because like you said, everyone thinks that you have to be in a 60-minute workout class for you to be able to get any benefits from exercise. And really you could benefit from doing 5 minutes of chair yoga, which is really just stretching your neck, pulling your arms, and your body benefits. And so does your brain, because when you are exercising, the likelihood of you breathing is higher. The more that you breathe, the more oxygen flows through your body and also gets to your brain. When your brain has oxygen in it, it allows it to be able to think better, to have more creativity, and it also improves your mood and your functioning. So you think about that it's not just one thing, that it's this whole process, that your brain and your body are absolutely connected, just like your body and your spirit are connected, and just like you're connected to everything in the environment that you're in and surrounded by too. So it's not taking any one thing out of it, it's just adding some wonderful things into it, hopefully.
I appreciate that breakdown. Wow. Yeah. Oxygen, everything. Yeah. And it's crazy because I do yoga every now and then, and I do love the feeling of the breathing with every move. And they do say it pushes those toxins through your body, pushes that energy, whatever it is you're holding. So, oh my goodness. Wow. Okay.
And you think about heart rate increases, and it's pushing more oxygen to your brain. Think about how much differently you feel even taking like a cleansing breath, right? Like that instant rush of oxygen to your brain is almost as powerful as, eating a full meal sometimes, right? That it can be really recharging.
Oh, okay, you guys. Let's pause and take our deep breaths. I love that. I had to take one just now, actually. So, now we're going to talk about too. I'm going off this how trauma can affect your physical activity. So, I know, I'm not a therapist, but I know trauma definitely affects our confidence, definitely affects, our moods, our energy to get up and do something. So, yeah, how would you say it affects our physical activity?
It's really interesting. I'm currently reading a book called The Body Keeps the Score by Dr. Vanderkolk. I think that's called. I'm really botching this guy's name. And sorry, doctor. But it talks about how people who have experienced significant trauma, largely around like sexual trauma or violent trauma, how that trauma stays in your body for a long period of time, and it doesn't really give you the chance to be able to have healthy interactions with others a lot of the time without some healing processes that can kind of come with that. But and it does make people not want to move in some cases. There are some different people who will really sit still because depression is something that is a really common mental health condition that really leads people into not being motivated anymore, where you lose your motivation, you lose your interest in things that you used to find to be interesting, and maybe irritable and not wanting to socialize, a little bit more reserved. So then the act of exercising may seem very daunting to someone who's feeling really, really sad and unmotivated. When you think about anxiety, then sometimes people are hyper focused on one thing and then they forget to exercise, or they forget to eat and exercise and do kind of some basic functioning things. So it's more like looking at it kind of from more than one perspective and giving yourself the opportunity to not beat yourself up on days when you don't really feel like it, but that kind of also knowing that discipline is sometimes doing things when you don't feel like it. Knowing that that's actually an indicator that maybe you needed more that day than you did if you didn't show up.
I love that the discipline part of it. It makes sense. And like you said, having that grace, even if it happens. And going off of that too, let's talk about the importance of surrounding yourself with the uplifting environment. I love, it's nothing like an uplifting environment. It definitely helps with our discipline. Keep it 100 keep it 100. That's definitely have kept me accountable. Like I just love the fact it's something weekly to do. Cause it's like, it's like, okay, this is like, just like with our jobs. I'm going to be at work at this time. I'm going to be at class at this time. I treat it literally like that. Like, oh, I have to go to my run club. And it's like, it's nothing like having that. There's people. Oh, I have something to say since we're on this show together too. I'll never forget. I was kind of new to the group, and I remember I was pushing myself to run, and you were behind. I actually did a video about that. You were running behind me, and you were like, you said something. You said, "Keep going. You're going to be so proud of yourself." And it made me tear up when I finished the run. It was you that said it, and I just want to thank you live on this show. It just came to me as I was talking because, like, I was, new to the run club, building my confidence of even being out there with the group, running in front of people. And those words, I just tell myself, I'm going to be proud of myself. And it followed me. So I want to, on here in front of people, tell you that. Thank you for that line because it definitely touched me and it definitely kept me coming to the group. But speaking of uplifting environment, see how we can all inspire and help and push and motivate each other. And sometimes it could just be accountability. That friend that calls you and says, "Oh, did you do this today? Did you do that?" It's nothing like or like a friend that you start a journey with, and whatever that looks like for you.
I love a good support system, and sometimes I try to be that person and then I forget that I even did it. So you telling me that, I kind of forgot I said that. But
You made me tear up that day. So
got me teared up over here, girl. One of the reasons I said that to you too is because I had so many people who encouraged me along challenging runs to not give up and to keep going. And I think that that's one of the things that we need to see more of in life, is knowing that the struggle is going to happen. It's what are you going to do when it comes? Right? Who's going to be there to support you and have your back? And it's one of the biggest reasons to make a good support team. Right? Like I recommend this, and I actually did a whole social media post about it one day, about creating like a war council, right? Or, you know, or like a tribe. Who are you going to seek out when you're having days where you don't feel like working out, or days where you don't feel like yourself, and you're feeling like maybe your mental health is declining? Who do you call? Who are the people that you've surrounded yourself with? And sometimes it's really hard when you're around people who may be saying some of the naysaying things like, oh, you know, keep it in the family. Don't tell anybody about what's going on here. And they're usually the ones that are traumatizing you. They're usually the ones that are traumatizing you, and they don't want you to get better, because then that means that they can't continue on with that mistreatment. But when you and then you think about what it means to kind of have people around you that say the opposite thing, that tell you positive things, and you want to hear those things. But sometimes those not so great words end up sticking to us a little bit more than others.
And then I don't know, and it's like about, and also too, I've been learning to just accept the good words now. Like that is normal. It's good. It's healthy to get people saying those nice things versus the mean things you get used to growing up. If you grew up in a negative self-talk type of environment, I'll say.
Yes, 100%. And it's also good to give a little good energy, like, because people need it, you know?
You need it that day. For sure.
And you know what? And there are days that I need it too. And it's okay to receive a good word. But you're right, for some people, it is so hard for them to accept that. And that is usually and largely a trauma response, right?
Definitely. Oh my goodness.
A good reason to go into therapy is for not being able to receive a compliment.
That's a good answer to that question. Oh, actually, it just actually went. Okay, so actually, what you just said goes with my next question. So I'll go ahead and ask you if you want to add anything on. What advice would you give to a person who was looking to go into therapy? So that was perfect what you just said. And
so I think some of the good things about looking to going into therapy are kind of knowing what you want to be able to get out of the experience. Having a little bit of a goal setting session in your first couple of sessions is always good. And coming in with a goal in mind, I think, is also really helpful. So saying, for instance, like, I want to feel better about getting ready to go work out. I want to improve my relationship with my mother. Yesterday was Mother's Day. I want to improve my relationship with my partner. Like, what is it that you're going in for? Because you have a reason. I want to feel less unmotivated. I want to increase my motivation because I'm tired of sitting on the couch in the dark by myself, doom scrolling on my phone and crying and eating bonbons all day, right? Like, after a while, like, it doesn't start to feel good anymore. So, like, I'm tired of having suicidal thoughts. I'm tired of wanting to end my life every day. I'm tired of, these are some of the things that people come in with. That they're tired of being tired. I'm tired of sleeping all day. I'm tired of avoiding my family. Just things like that are really good reasons. Like, when you can tell that something isn't working for you anymore and you're ready to make a change, start thinking about what it is that you do want to change, and know that it's okay to come into therapy for that. Tired of drinking, tired smoking weed all the time, whatever it is. But those are all kind of signs that it's time. I'm tired of getting into fights with people at the grocery store, over the checkout line, or being irritated in traffic, or feeling lonely in my new city, or, you name it. I hate my job. Oh, that's the biggest one.
It comes in. Oh wow. Thank you for sharing. Thank you
Mhm.
for sharing. So it is now time for the tweet up segment.
Are you
Twitter expert call it. Something that I tweeted today actually that goes with tonight's episode is your body is always talking to you. Listen to it before it does something to really get your attention. So I had to say that today because, like, it's a lot of things. So we're talking about the importance of listening to your body. So as I just said, your body's always speaking. It could be just from exercising. You feel like a little injury coming through, but you're like, oh, it's nothing. You keep going. It could be, something we're eating and we feel weird after we keep eating it, and your body finally like, ooh, it could be you feel like you're getting sick, but you're not doing the pre things to make yourself, to knock it out before it gets worse. You're not sleeping enough. You've been tired, but you're like, I can still keep going, and you finally just fall out. So I've definitely been in all types of situations where my body was like, hey, and I just, oh, it's okay. And then bam. So, yeah, so let's listen to our body. So, Laura, what's your favorite way to listen to your body?
I was gonna sing a song with my kids when I was doing potty training, which is listen to your body and go potty. But that's not what we're talking about today. Sometimes that's actually something that you need to listen to. So, sorry, that was kind of a silly thing. But your body does give you cues, muscle fatigue, frequent headaches,
Oh,
not
that's a
being
good one.
able to acknowledge your hunger cues is a big one.
That's
Um,
really big.
that's a big one. Not being able to acknowledge your tired cues when you're sleepy, right? When you're sleepy, you're hungry, not being able to kind of like tell when your instincts are telling you something is unsafe, like listening to the hairs on the back of your neck that stand up, the chill bumps that happen when you're around somebody that may make you feel uncomfortable, that unsettled feeling in your gut, in your stomach that doesn't let you rest is telling you something. And people, and even sometimes, especially for my elite performing athletes, an injury is telling you something as well. Either it's telling you that you're overusing something, that you're using something improperly, or that you've done something in your use that is telling you that now it's time for you to sit down and recover. And your body, you're right, is always telling you something. You definitely have to listen to what it's telling you. And some of those things may be that you need to hydrate, that you need water, right? Some of those things may be that you are depressed and that you might need to go talk to someone about feeling like your body can't move, like you can't like get up. And I'm talking about kind of like some more minor mental health diagnoses instead of like more extreme and severe things in today's topics.
Wow, I love you brought up headaches. That's a good one. I feel like headaches are very normalized. People talk, oh, it's a headache, but it's like you're right. If it's frequent, what's going on? So those are good ones. And I would say other ways to listen to your body as well. Something that helps help me is like the power of like sitting still. Like sometimes I like to just sit still and take deep breaths and feel my body and like self reflect like on what am I happy about right now, or like what am I worried about at this moment? Like those things too, like play a role. And then like, you're right, if like those pains come in when you think of certain things or a certain person crosses your mind, what's really going on. So I love those answers. It is now time for the life up segment.
Okay.
So the life up segment is when I take a topic, I compare it to today's world, like an issue in today's world. So some of our life up for tonight is having a relationship with fitness for the wrong reasons, working out just to look good, but not allowing your body to rest, not listening to your body when it's time to take a break from working out. You mentioned that. Negative self-talk when it comes to starting a fitness journey. And last one, comparing your physical activity journey to others. So these are huge ones, I think, when it comes to mental health and physical fitness. I think we're in such a time, IG, right? We're seeing all these people look good, posting their body and things like that. And it's like we give ourselves sometimes those unrealistic fitness goals, or like going so hard to reach that goal that we're tiring ourselves out. And then now I've definitely, I've been around friends and stuff who've like injured themselves severely because of not taking that break. And then the negative self-talk when it comes to starting a fitness journey. I feel like, I've definitely have battled that before. And yeah, so any thoughts on any of those topics?
So, one of the things that really stood out is the first question that you asked about like knowing when you're doing it for the right or wrong reasons. And I think that there is something about the fitness community that can be really also filled with its own challenges, is what I'm going to say. It's actually one of the reasons why in my book, I'm also an author, I think I left that out, that it's called The Athlete's Guide to Mindfulness. And one of the things that I have in the book are a bunch of hidden androgynous athletes with bubble bodies, and they're designed to be colored in the book. And the reason why we've done that is because, or that I did that, is because of we have so many people who are athletes who have serious body image issues that they kind of translate into thinking that sports is somehow that being an athlete, that your body is going to be this ripped muscular machine. And that's a lot of the time what they'll show a lot of on TV. But you don't have athletes that always look like that. Sometimes you have a lineman that is, 300 pounds. Sumo wrestlers weigh so much, but they're so strong. And their view on their body is something that's beautiful. It's not seen in this negative light. So when you have a positive body image and accept that your body is going to change depending on where you are in your life, that those things are kind of acceptable. So like a pregnant woman's body is not going to look the same as someone who is not pregnant, and someone who's 3 months pregnant is going to look different than someone who's 9 months pregnant. You're also going to have different phases in life where your 13-year-old body is not the same as your 37-year-old body. They're different. That you go through different phases and stages in life, and so will your body. And to kind of accept that as a part of the process and not be so hard on your body as a result, that there's something that is very beautiful about the human body, even when it is not in what is kind of this Eurocentric idealized perspective of what beauty is. And that beauty is not having yourself in a calorie deficit to be able to look a certain way. That beauty is not always in a space where you are being talked badly about. Like one of the things that I've seen on the internet a lot are these trainers that are coming on and like fat shaming people. You're going to lose your big belly by doing this. And it's like, maybe I don't care if my belly is big. I got a bunch of kids. I've run a marathon and some half marathons and done some other stuff, and the belly is still here.
Looking good. Look, okay, yeah, tell it, girl.
And I think that there's a lot of people who sometimes feel shame about that feel like they have to fit into these very Eurocentric standards of beauty. And when you go to other countries and other parts of the world, they don't have those same expectations. But we see a lot of people in this country in particular becoming very, very overwhelmed with these kind of like ideals of thinness, and it ends up really harming your body in the process of trying to become this thin person. And it doesn't bring the happiness that people think that it's going to bring, because all of the mental thoughts and ideas that you had, that you didn't work through those when you were at the gym. You kind of continued on with the goal was to lose the body, and you don't have to disappear to be beautiful.
Okay, that was a quote. That's a shirt right there. Oh, that was a quote. I'm here for the body positivity.
Yeah, and not even just body positivity, but body neutrality. It's interesting. My dad called me the other day, and he's like, I went to the doctor. He's a little bit older than us. He's an elder. And he's like, I went to the doctor. They said I gained some weight. And I said, okay. I think he was expecting for me to say like, well,
oh my goodness.
And I was just like, okay. I don't even own a scale.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't either.
What tell me? I don't know.
And I remember at Run Club one day you shared at the end, I don't remember your exact words, but it stood out to me too. You were talking about how, I forgot what you said, but I don't know if you're talking about like scars or like stretch marks, but you were like, each part of me has a story. This is me in this chapter, whatever. And that was beautiful because I think summer was coming, and you were like, yeah, everyone's like, oh, summer's coming up. You're like, this is my summer body that I've earned, I lived in. I'm living in right now. And it was beautifully said.
I
It's
earned
true.
all these motherhood stretch marks. They are all permanent, and I can't get rid of them, even though, and I think about what it costs. And it's interesting because I think that sometimes when people think about people who get like excessive plastic surgery, the BBLs, and all those things, like, oh, this is what they're willing to do to risk to be beautiful. And it's like sometimes
Mm.
power and also that acceptance of your body as it is, and not to shame the people who do those things, because that's not my mission, but there's also beauty in the imperfections and the flaws of your body, of the cellulite, of the stretch marks, of the jiggle when you're doing those dances.
You're doing something. Yeah.
It's still beautiful, but who told us that it wasn't?
Mhm. All
Where
right,
are we
you're now.
where are we getting these thoughts and theories from? You can just spell these myths.
Oh, that was well said. And remember, you all be kind to yourself on your journey. And everyone's journey looks different. Like you said, we're all different imperfections in this in this area. Your runner body's gonna look different from my runner body. This. Let's just love ourselves and work on ourselves how we want to. So I feel that. It is now time for the drink up segment. If I can find the button.
Okay.
So if you're listening out there, please pull out some water, drink some water. Needed that. And I have a water fact for tonight. Tonight's water fact, according to cnet.com, increasing your water intake will promote happiness, allowing your brain to continue making, I cannot say this word, serotonin. The correct amount of serotonin in the brain keeps us happy, emotionally level, and stable. And to have enough serotonin in the brain, we must ensure we stay hydrated. So, like this goes to tonight's episode. Even being physical activity, talking is a physical activity to me right now. Drink that water. So that was the drink up water fact for tonight. Now back to the episode. So speaking of water, let's talk about the relationship of proper nutrition and physical activity. So what's the word? Like you just said too, with our mental health, it's like knowing when we're hungry, knowing when it's time to eat, knowing when it's time to drink water and stay hydrated. That's a part of it too. Like your nutrition goes hand in hand. So any recommendations, any thoughts on that topic? And then I'm add on like a follow-up question if you want to add this in. As a therapist, are there any foods you recommend for a person's mental health? So go ahead and feel free to answer how you feel.
Okay, something that I'm going to say about drinking water is that it is my number one beauty tip that I give to everyone.
Ooh,
If you want to be beautiful, drink some water. It's really good for your body. Remember how I was talking about the oxygen? Same thing with water. Your body is made up of 75% water. You need water for it to move and groove and flow. Remember that blood that needs to get through? Guess what it needs in addition to oxygen? Water. Guess what your muscles need? Water. Need water. And one of the other things I'd like to say about water that isn't about drinking it, but going to go look at it or touch it, is also really good for your mental health. Water are positive for yourself. If you find a waterfall, and I'm also partial to the ocean.
Yeah, love it. Yep,
with our surfboard over here. That touching the water is always going to be something that could be really good for your mental health, as long as you're not like processing trauma around it. But I think that there's really something very powerful about drinking your water. One of the other things that I'm going to say about diets, if you're ever on a diet that says that you shouldn't eat fruits and vegetables, I just want you to know, hard pass on that diet, because I don't believe in dieting anyway, but I do believe that your diet is just what you eat. That anytime that you're eating fruits and vegetables and doing things that are helping to promote your health in a positive way, that you're going to end up being healthier. So if you can't figure out what else to eat when you're nervous about wanting to be able to improve your mental health, that eating fruits and vegetables, at least add them to all of your meals. And drink some water with it. I'm not a nutrition expert, but I always recommend that people eat like fresh fruits and fresh vegetables. Like, a salad won't hurt, sometimes. Sure, get your cheeseburger and your fries and a salad too, Yes, and like some veggies. Yes, and where's the fruit with it, But to add more of the fruits and vegetables in the colorful plate is always a good idea.
Oh, I love it. Look, that was a nice one. Thank you for sharing. It is now time for the Poet Up segment. So you guys know I like to write poetry, so I'm going to share a quote or two from one of my poems. So this actually, so I had a therapist on today. I was like, I could do one of my deeper ones and stuff. But this is from my poem, Suppressed Emotions. So it's a short and sweet. Suppressed emotions. How do I manage to somehow escape the let me start over. Suppressed emotions. How do you manage to somehow escape the box that I lock you away in? I choose to hide you. I choose to bury you deep within. I choose to lose you, but I end up losing myself. When I ignore you, I am ignoring myself. So that was something short and sweet to share for tonight.
Thank you for that. That's so true.
Right? Yeah. Speaking of, anything. Yeah, definitely. People we push that away. We are ignoring this.
People really try to hide their feelings and they think that people can't see it. But I liken that to doing like this. You can't see me, but I can totally see you. Like, you think that you're hiding your trauma, you think that you're hiding your feelings by covering them up with either a big bad attitude or by being overly happy and trying to put on a show or, just doing, other interesting things. You think people can't see that you're struggling, and sometimes they can and they don't know how to help you. And sometimes they need you to say it so that you can just stop masking it and just be authentic and let people know that you need help. Because if you hold it all in, it's gonna blow up.
Oh, when it blows up, it's not the best version of ourselves. And speaking of everything we just talked about, the importance of not ignoring your body. So like we've been saying, like when we and it goes with emotions too. So I love that we covered that tonight.
Yes.
Yay. So it is now time for the show up segment. So this is the show up segment. So if you're out there listening, please comment. How did you show up for yourself this week? I would love to know. How did I show up for myself this week? I showed up for myself this week. I would say so far. What is I'm trying to think of a really good way. You know what? I showed up for myself this week by showing up for others, and I say that because I really love doing acts of kindness for people. So I actually got the chance to do that today, actually do an act of kindness. And it just made me feel good. I feel like it brings me joy, bringing others joy. So that's how I feel like I was able to fuel my heart by feeling somebody else for a little bit. So that's how I showed up for myself this week. So Lauren, how did you show up for yourself this week?
As a therapist, I want to ask you so bad, what did you do for the other person?
What I do, I made a meal for my friend and her family. Like just for night, just out of just wanted to.
That is very kind, and as a mom, we love a meal we don't have to cook. Okay.
I didn't want her cooking. I was like, let me. I got you today. I'm gonna make you guys a nice. Yeah.
That is a very special gift. I think that one of my acts of kindness has really just been, kind of being more gentle with myself and not overscheduling myself lately, and trying to do too many things in one day or, things like that. I also, Mother's Day was, also this week. I also sat down and I didn't do anything.
That's amazing.
Queen for the day, and they were like, "Oh, you're not cooking. We gotta make." Everyone's like thrown off, but it was nice to, kind of just give myself the gift of not doing the most for everyone else and just kind of relax.
I love that, especially when you're wearing many hats, so sometimes it's nice to just have that moment just to sit. That is showing up for yourself.
It is.
And another way to show up for yourself, you guys, is to make time for physical activities. It's so important. Whether, like you say, whether it's to walk down the street, it's standing up to do something, whatever. I don't know. Like cleaning your house, that's a physical activity. And you feel so good after.
Your house looks good. You feel good. Your sheets are nice and cozy when you get in at the end of the night. Showers clean when you take you think about the reset, right? And the act of cleaning as a form of self-care. I definitely count cleaning as a workout because bend down and stand up and bend down and stand up and scrub and rub and elbow grease and get the writing off the walls and all that stuff.
It's a real thing. Oh, that's a big one. And I have a fun question. I love to ask all my guests a fun question. Yours for tonight is, if you could offer your services to any athlete, who would it be and why?
Oh, that's a good question. Oh, let's see. I would have to say one of the new lady hoopers that have
Okay.
just gotten in the WNBA. They are a dynamic group of young people. And I just think that they're also playing in an age where, in a stage in life where social media is so brutal. Like I think about, Miss Angel Reese and the way
Yes.
that people have, just vilified her, but she's like a supermodel and
Mhm.
she's a talented basketball player. She's a scholar. She's, kind of a model too.
Mhm.
And, a fashion icon now. Let her live. I
Mhm.
also,
Sure. Mhm.
one athlete that I would also probably like to work with, and this might be an unpopular thing, is a former athlete, is Mr. Shannon Sharp.
Okay, okay, okay.
Discusses and
Yes.
a
If you end
little.
up on the show, huh?
I don't know. I doubt it. But I feel like some of the things and ways that he views the world just
Mhm.
kind of make me a little bit like, oh, that's interesting. I'm wondering what's going on with your mental health. Um,
Mm.
but I'm
Okay.
just gonna leave that there because how he talks about relationships and just makes me ask a lot of questions in my head. I don't know any of these people personally, but
Mhm.
those two people that I do think about, I'm like, okay, interesting.
Right. Yeah, definitely, with them being public figures, this is what we're seeing, on our phones and stuff. So I feel that. Okay, great. Yeah, great, interesting answers. Okay. It is now time for, let me come back to the screen. It is now time for the wrap up segment. So, how does this relate to self love? Self love is loving yourself enough to prioritize your physical health as well, and see the connection of our physical and mental health. They all go hand in hand. Let's love ourselves. Let's take care of both sides of everything that works together for our health and overall health. I'll say that. So, Lauren, how do you practice self love?
I practice self-love by being kind to myself and others. At least I try to.
Right.
Um, I You asked me a question about self-talk earlier, and I really try to say really nice things to myself.
Mhm.
And if I'm not, then I kind of like, okay, check yourself. Like it's okay. I also, spend a lot of time doing things that I enjoy now. I've been writing a lot lately. I love that you mentioned that you've been writing poetry. Like I said, I wrote, one book. I've written another book recently, and I have been kind of like in a space where I'm honoring all of my strengths, and that feels something amazing that I didn't have the chance to do when I wasn't in my private practice full time. So I feel like my
Mhm.
brain is just operating at like another level right now, and I feel like I've been honoring that, which is a gift that I didn't give myself before. So I've been doing things like that I love, like swimming again, and like I said, I'm teaching a class now to other people who want to learn to swim and compete in triathlons, and a couple of the people from the run club have taken my class and have gotten
Ooh.
to be really good at it. And so I feel like kind of like even knowing the things that I'm doing well has been something that's been really game changing for me to even acknowledge my own accomplishments and to kind of give myself a break from not feeling like I have to overperform all the time, which was the sick
Mhm.
place that I was working in before.
Mhm.
Is that I felt like I had to constantly overperform and prove myself, and I don't feel that since I feel like the proof is in the pudding and I'm good now.
Right? Girl, you doing the thing. You doing it. Okay, I love that. And this is a question I love to see. Like the last question, a question I love to ask all my guests. What is something that you want to be remembered for?
Oh, that's a great question. My my mission in life has been to destigmatize mental health as best as possible. Um, we also have a large draw toward not just community service, but to social justice in my family and in my home. And we talk about ways that we can show up and be of service to others. And honestly, that's one of the things that I really hope that both myself and my family can be known for is that we have been able to show up and help other people throughout the course of my life. I hope that that's part of the legacy that I'm creating with both my husband and my kids, and
Mhm.
that's something that people will remember me for when I'm no longer here. That's something that we've been able to share with others.
Well, you are definitely doing it. I remember, you guys. I remember physical activity is connected to mental health. Love yourself through the journey, all stages. Even when I feel like we need ourselves the most, even when it does get challenging. That's when we need to be kinder to ourselves and be a light, and have grace with yourself on the journey. So, I mean, I love to compare, now that I run a lot. I love to compare life to that. Like some days you have a rougher run, and you're like, oh, but you still got to be nice and kind to yourself, and be like, have patience with yourself, even on those challenging ones, and just work on it and get better. So, I appreciate you so much, Lauren, for coming on my platform and just spreading a light. You're such a light in this world. Keep doing what you're doing. Like I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful to have met you, and I'm happy that I can have you on my platform. Before we go, can you please shout your information out? Where can people find you and book your services and get your book and everything?
Yes, yes, yes. You can follow me at the Turner Practice on IG and on TikTok. You can follow me on LinkedIn at Lauren Turner LCSW. You can call me from my website on www.theturnerpractice.com. You can buy the book, Athlete's Guide to Mindfulness. I actually have a copy here with me. This is what it looks like. You
Woo!
can
Show it all.
on Amazon or Barnes & Noble. And if you go through my website, you can be directed straight to it. Please reach out. I actually have some openings right now, so feel free to enter into the Turner Practice. We have a little tagline. This is where mindful athletes practice. And, if you want to tap into your mindfulness and improve your mental health, come and, see about it. We have space for you today.
Oh my goodness. Love it, y'all. Make sure y'all tap in. I definitely have her information in the bio. Thank you guys for tuning in. I will be back next week for in honor of Mental Health Awareness Month with another amazing therapist as well. Thank you again, Lauren.
Thank you so much, V. I am so grateful to you for having me on here and for being such an awesome person too. And this has been amazing. I'm so grateful, and I've had a wonderful time. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Oh, yeah, likewise. This definitely was a great time. But you guys, make sure you guys tap in. Follow SpeakUpJV on Instagram at SpeakUpJV, X at SpeakUpJV, also, and tell your friends to subscribe on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify. Love you guys. Have a great week, you guys, and take care of your physical and mental health. Woo-woo.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Take